Welcome back to the North Star Takes podcast with Bailey Palicki and Jacob Liberta. You can find all our videos here on our channel, so hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Give us a follow on both Twitter and Instagram as well, and tell all your sports-loving friends about us and all you Timberwolves fans as well.
Yes, let's go.
We're doing Timberwolves videos weekly now. Obviously, they're getting pretty popular, and why not? I mean, the Wolves are a fun team to talk about. They have an intriguing roster, and they especially have an intriguing big three with D'Angelo Russell, Anthony Edwards, and Karl-Anthony Towns. And that's what we're going to get into today, is where does this Wolves big three rank among the NBA's elite? I mean, clearly you have the Nets and the Lakers at the top.
Yep, cream of the crop.
Yeah, I mean, those are probably your two finals teams everyone's imagining right now. Golden State is still up there. You have to give them the benefit of the doubt, even with Draymond Green falling off recently.
Exactly, because they still have the power duo that's good enough to make them into whoever you want to put in that third spot there.
The Bucks just coming off their championship with Giannis, Drew Holiday, and Chris Middleton.
Yep.
So, yeah, there's lots of good trios in the NBA. Miami Heat acquired Kyle Lowry.
Yep.
So he's a part of a big trio there. So obviously the Wolves have some work to do, and this trio really hasn't played a whole lot together. But where do you see them right now?
Right now, I would say it's pretty safe to say we're a top half trio because I don't think a lot of teams really have like three great players. Like we have, like maybe I'm overvaluing like Cat and D'Lo or maybe Ant too early in his career, but it's the thing. I feel like we're comfortably a top half team. It's really our deficiencies more times than not fall within the depth usually, and that's where we kind of fall off, and that's how we lose games. But I would say we're top 15, possibly fringe top 10. But I think we have a lot to prove, obviously, because like you said, these three guys haven't played a lot of games together yet, and we hope to see that this year to see what the potential really is here. But I think, especially Ant growing into his own in year two and beyond, so I'd like to say right now we're comfortably in that 10 to 15 range. What are you thinking?
Yeah, I would agree with you. I mean, everyone knows I'm very bullish on Anthony Edwards. I think he has top 5 player potential in the NBA. I'm not saying he'll be a top 5 player this year, or maybe he won't ever, but I think he has that potential. Karl-Anthony Towns, if he can play a full season and just stay healthy, he's a top 25 player in the NBA. Oh, yeah. No doubt. I mean, he was once ranked as the top player that all NBA GMs they voted on. Yes. They would start a team around him. Granted, that was like his second or third year in the league, so it's been a little while since then, but it's not like he's gotten worse as a player. He's just been on bad teams, so people just tend to forget about him. But he's an extremely talented – he's probably the most talented center in the NBA, I would say.
I think so.
Jokic is probably up there.
I feel like I'd probably give the nod to Jokic at this point.
Yeah, Jokic won MVP, but Cat's just so athletic. You know, he's a center that can basically – he's almost like a point center. He can handle the ball. He can do step back threes. Like
that's true. I don't see that too often with a 7-footer, but yeah, I guess Jokic maybe Cat's more naturally gifted, but I feel like Jokic's probably just a smarter player.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And then you have D'Angelo Russell, he's kind of the interesting one of the three. I mean, he led that Brooklyn team to the playoffs. He put them on his back. He was their best player. But then you haven't seen that anywhere else in any other year in his career. He wasn't very good with the Lakers. They shipped him out of town.
Went to Brooklyn.
Yeah,
he was pretty good. Yeah, he went to the playoffs.
Exactly. That one magical season with Brooklyn, they decide to move on. They get Kyrie Irving, which you can't blame them for that. I mean, Kyrie's a great player. He goes to Golden State. Obviously, it wasn't ever going to work there next to Steph Curry. They're almost kind of the same player in terms of just like they want to be volume shooters, and obviously Steph is the better player. So
yes, absolutely. But I feel like D'Lo, that might be where the potential of this team really rests.
Yes,
like I feel like
I would agree.
D'Lo could be the difference between us being a good team or a great team. Because I think if he's consistently on the floor, hitting threes and really just contributing to what Ant and Cat are doing, I feel like that's what can make us a great team. But if he's kind of disappearing and fading away, like then we're probably just a pretty good team, probably fringe playoff team. So I think that he could be the biggest X factor.
Yeah, and I think what it's really going to come down to is just how do these guys mesh together? Do they kind of figure out what each individual's role is going to be within this big three? Like when you have Ant and D'Lo, Cat's probably not going to be the one to take like the game-winning shot or the shot in the clutch. You know, they might drop a play for him to get him like rolling to the basket or something. But when it comes down to it, you know, D'Lo's going to try and shoot that step back three, or Ant's going to try and go ISO, take the ball to the basket, draw a foul. Like So those two are going to be your big game, like end of game clutch players.
Yes. Well, plus I feel like Cat never even really wants the ball at the end of a game.
Right. And I think he's got the personality where I think he's okay deferring, especially like D'Lo is one of his best friends.
Yes.
It's clear that they both like Anthony Edwards. I mean, who doesn't like the guy?
Yes.
So I think those three can get along. And as long as their playing styles don't, butt heads on the court, I think they're going to be a really good trio. And that's the thing is they just need time to play together. Like this isn't going to be a 1-year thing. If they're going to be a good trio, they need to be together for 3 or 4 years, which you just really don't see in the NBA anymore.
No.
And if the Wolves aren't winning games, Cat and D'Lo aren't going to be here in 3 or 4 years. So
yeah, exactly. Because people are crossing trades right and left. All the players, like you have 1-2 bad seasons or something. It's like, oh, I want out of here. I don't want to play here anymore. Then all of a sudden you're just rebuilding again, and you have to start all over, which is pretty frustrating. But it's just the nature of the league, and you have to adapt, and you have to win as quick as possible.
And here's what's interesting about the Wolves is really they have their big three, but they have like an extension of that as well, which maybe we're overhyping these guys, but between Jaden McDaniels and Malik Beasley, I mean, going into this previous season, Malik Beasley was a part of our big three. It was D'Lo, Cat, and Beasley.
Yep.
And Beasley was our best shooter.
Yes.
He was averaging the most points per game until the end of the season when Cat finally qualified. So he's a good player. He's got to stay out of trouble. He had some injuries at the end of last season. Jaden McDaniels has just been the talk of the town, really, for the Timberwolves.
Yes.
I mean, his progression throughout the summer, how good he looked in the second half of last season under Chris Finch. So, like, even if they did move on from D'Lo, there'd still be the potential for one of those other guys to step in and kind of fill those shoes as the third guy.
Oh, I totally agree. I think the sky's the limit for Jaden McDaniels. And then, obviously, Malik Beasley, I feel like he was our best player through the first half of last season.
For sure.
I thought he was borderline playing at an all-star level. But
yeah.
I think there's a lot more. Like you said, there's just a lot more to this team than just the big three. Like I said, that's usually where our deficiencies lie. But I feel like maybe we say this every year. I don't know. But
Yeah.
I would say I feel like our depth is just better than it's been in years. So I'm really excited about having got some McDaniels and Beasley. Then there's Pat Bev, who can all contribute off the bench. Or obviously a couple of them will start, but somebody's going to have to come off the bench. And that's going to be huge that we have a guy that we can comfortably rely on to be like, hey, this guy can go out there and hoop, or at least, maintain status quo, I guess, in a game. And
control the game.
Yeah, exactly. Not put you in a bad spot. So I think that's huge.
Another interesting thing about this Wolves big three is that they're one of the younger, like, big threes that are somewhat intriguing in this league.
Yes, we're a very young team.
I mean, you got the Suns, but Chris Paul is also 36. Booker and Ayton are young, but you got 36-year-old Chris Paul, whereas the Wolves, Cat's like 26 years old. D'Lo's 25, 26 years old. Anthony Edwards is 19. So,
yeah.
I mean, it's crazy. And Anthony Edwards might be the best player of them all, and he's 19. So,
exactly.
Yeah, I'm excited to see where this big three can take us. And, it'll be interesting. I think they have the potential to, move their way up the ranks, per se.
How high are we talking?
I would say potentially it could be borderline top 5, but not this season, maybe not even the next 2 seasons. But I think if you give them 3 to 4 years together and they can start building something, they have the talent to do it. I mean, I don't think anyone can deny that they have the talent.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I think Ant's evolution will probably grow with this ranking where we put them as far as a big three. So I'm really excited to see if that really comes to fruition. You're kind of sticking your neck out there a little bit.
I am.
Saying top 5. But honestly, I have to agree with you. Like, the points we're making here, like, it sounds logical. I mean, obviously, we're putting our Timberwolves caps on, and we're
Timberwolves shirt.
Yeah, my Timberwolves shirt, but we're drinking that Timberwolves Kool-Aid. But at the same time, I don't think there's any reason to not be optimistic about these 3 guys.
Yeah, for sure. So it's going to be interesting to see. Off season is usually the most exciting part for the Wolves.
Yes.
But
let's hope we can change.
Yeah, hopefully that changes this year. But that's going to do it for this edition of the North Star Takes podcast. Be sure to hit that like button and subscribe as well if you haven't already. Give us a follow on Twitter and Instagram, and comment below about how you feel about this Wolves big three and where they rank among the NBA's best.